Chitchat episode 3.
45.
So let's just eat and we can eat while we talk. Yay!
Hi, I'm Alex Stroming. I use she, her pronouns. I am a director, intimacy director, producer, theater artist, writer, all the things.
Hello, I'm Enrico. Just like Alex, I'm usually working as a director. I basically do everything she did as well, except I don't do intimacy directing, so she's more talented than I am. But I do have like at the moment, all my projects have been focused on a special niche of just like it's usually they've been musicals, and they've been like Asian musicals based on old novels.
Well, I'm just trying to introduce the whole topic of this episode, which is self-producing, because that's the one main thing I'm very curious about right at the moment. So first of all, congratulations on your first 2-week run.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so much.
I just want to know, how did you guys choose your venues?
Well, I think that it really just depends on the project, to be honest. I hadn't really had a lot of experience looking at different pub venues around London. And so the first step for me was just kind of exploring and seeing what was out there. And I did that by seeing a lot of different shows. And I would, kind of intentionally try to go to productions that were happening at places that I'd never been before, just so that I could kind of snoop around and see what the venue was like. Because I think it can be really hard to really know what a venue might be like unless you actually see a show there.
Yeah.
So, and then, I think ultimately it just came down to like timing and luck, to be honest. Some of it. I think that it was, who got back to me first and which slots were available. I know for Scenes with Girls, we weren't last minute because we didn't know that we were going to be doing it, but once we had decided that we were going to do it, we were like, okay, we're going to make this happen as soon as possible. And then we found that at this venue, which one of my actors had previously done a show there at, so she kind of knew a bit about the venue and had a connection there. Then they had a show that dropped out like kind of last minute, and then this 2-week slot opened up. So that bit, was really just a combination of, connections and also luck, I think for me, the really interesting challenge was trying to decide what was more important to me in terms of like when I have my director hat on, my producer hat on, because when I had my director hat on, I was thinking, artistically, what's going to work best? Like, what's the feeling of the space? Is it going to support the play? And then producer hat was also about, what are the expenses like? And also how are these people to work with? And what's the communication like? And all these sort of holding those two things. And to be honest, we were between two different venues for a while. And then we ultimately ended up, and it wasn't this dramatic, but it was a little bit like director brain wanted one venue and producer brain wanted the other venue. And eventually director brain did win out. But it was also, an incredible privilege to actually have two venues that we could be looking at.
So my first piece was at a place called the Space Theatre around Canary Wharf, Isle of Dog, that area. I saw that I've been there once to see a show by Megan. I thought the theater was really interesting and great because it used to be a church and there's really good acoustics, musically speaking. But there wasn't a lot of space, but we also didn't have the budget for a full band at the time. And we still don't. I don't know why I said at the time. We still don't have a budget for a full band. So I saw them posting they're looking for theater and shows for their summer season. And the criteria just has to be new companies with shows that never before put in. That's never been performed before. They're looking for a stage.
But where did you see that?
I saw on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I liked the stage from before, so I'm just let's give it a shot. And that was the fastest yes I ever gotten. I sent them, they have a form to fill out. It's what's your idea, what's behind it, and maybe some examples. And we at the time we already wrote some songs, a song or two, and an example. And I think they were really cool, and I really liked the cultural side of things. Because the original pitch for the musical was a more Chinese Hamilton style, where you can hear it starts very ancient Chinese music, and then it goes more into modern stuff. It never went into rap or anything, just a little bit, but never too much. And then it goes into more modern music, and that was the original pitch, and we sent that to them. I think they really loved it. the next day we noticed the video, which is a private video, the private link, a private SoundCloud link, got like a lot of views. They listened to it a lot, and they just like invited us for like an interview, saying, "Yeah, we want you for the summer season, and these are the time slots we have. These are the things we need. These are the criterias, and this is how basic." It was very cheap, technically speaking. They don't charge you anything. They take ticket pricing depending on how well you sell, and we sell okay. Basically, like they have a minimum of like £100-something per night, but we never had to reach it. They always took half the price of the tickets, so it was good. It went quite well. Yeah, it was a good deal. It was a good venue. I do think the location was a little far. Maybe that didn't help some people, but it was like a good stage, and they give you a 1 week run, which was what we really wanted. And yeah, it was quote unquote inexpensive, and they had good enough acoustic and logistics. And other venues at the time, we were also looking at Camden Fringe, and they were reaching out to us, but they were giving us really small theaters, and we had an 8-member cast, and there was some like sword fighting and stuff, and singing and dancing, and then it just didn't fit on their small stage, so I rejected most of the like Camden Fringe choices.
Actually, the other space that we were considering was the Space Theater. Yeah. And I really, like, they are lovely. And, like, I really love their ethos, and the space is so cool. And it sounds like it was perfect for your piece. But for Scenes with Girls, it's set in this, in these 3 girls' flat living room. And it's supposed to be, quite intimate and almost like claustrophobic feeling. And no matter what you do in that space, you're not going to get a sense of claustrophobia, right?
There's just too much space.
Yeah.
Space.
The space. Yeah. So they were.
Maybe
they were.
because of the ceiling is too high.
Exactly.
It's high.
That's exactly what it was, and it was so difficult because
It doesn't feel claustrophobic.
they were so lovely, and I wanted to like work with them like just as a person so much because
Matt is great.
Matt's
Matthew's
great, yeah.
great.
And like obviously I would love to maybe bring a show there someday if it suits, but yeah, like being at the Golden Goose, and I had also I think it also oh god I should have said that's when we actually did it, and it was that space. I think it also helped that the show that I had seen there before was this like intimate family drama in a living room. So I think that I kind of knew sort of in my brain how it might work. And also to bounce off of what you were saying about you being offered a lot of smaller venues that wouldn't work because of your cast size and all that. Like my next project is a 1-woman show, not starring me, I'm directing it. But I, just to be absolutely clear. But because of that, I feel like we've had so much more freedom in terms of the venues that we're looking at because we only have one person. Even if it's a physical show, if you only have one person, like, there's still a lot that you can do with a small amount of space. With my producer hat on, I can see why people kind of, sometimes try to work towards shows that have less actors, just because I think that it, obviously it can be artistically limiting, but it can also just make the producer all of the things, and also talking about like finances and stuff, like people are always the most expensive, and so it definitely puts a bit of an ease on that.
Did you pay your actors?
Yes.
Is it a good pay?
Well, what do you mean by good?
Actor, yes, we did. Our composer has a normal human day job. He's from Australia. It's another long story, but he's like a railway engineer kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, he somehow composed the whole show on the side.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so like he said, if we don't get like proper funding, Arts Council funding, which we could rant about for 3 hours after this, he can cover the actors' costs, and I'll cover everything else from like costing to set to everyone else, because we also have like movement directors, choreographer, and musical directors and stuff like that.
That's so cool. Because I always struggle to pay my actors.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say, so with Scenes with Girls, it was a remount of my thesis production, and I was very fortunate in that all of my actors did want to continue with the project, and so they were not paid, equity rate, I'm sure, because we couldn't afford it. But I was very, very, basically, like, I was just very transparent with them about that from day one. I actually gave them an option also at the beginning of the whole process. I said, either you can take this rate, and this is the rate that I can offer you as an actor for the production, or you can be a co-producer with me, and then if we, basically if we make a profit, we'll split it. I was very fortunate in that we ended up having enough fundraising that I was able to pay two of the actors decided I'll just take the actor fee, and then two of them decided that they wanted to be co-producers with me. And I was very fortunate in that by the end of the fundraising process, I was able to actually still pay those other two actors just as actors as well. But yeah, it was just the process of being transparent. And as much as it is difficult, I think about this a lot, to sort of separate your producer and your director brain, and to not, to try to take a step back from the inherent power structure of being a director. That sometimes can make actors feel like they need to do things, and that's something that, especially as an intimacy director, I'm super aware of, and I'm aware that's something that you can never take off. And so to the best of my ability, with no pressure, I tried to just explain the situation to them, and thankfully they were all very receptive, and also everyone got paid the same: actors, designer, stage manager, everybody got paid the same rate. And I think that that's something that just for me was important ethically to know that, like, it's not like anyone's getting paid more than anyone else. So that was kind of how we sorted that. And I created the budget, but I also made the budget visible to all of them, so like they could see exactly where the money was going. And yeah, so basically my trade-off of knowing that I wasn't going to be able to pay them, truly what they're worth, was just to say, like, we all understand, we're all on the same page about this being a passion project and the limitations, but also the benefits of that. And, full transparency basically was where I landed.
Let's talk about which part did you feel is most difficult in this whole process when you self-producing the show?
This is just a part of it that I don't really enjoy, nor do I have any desire to get better at it, even though I know that it's a very necessary skill, is marketing. I don't enjoy marketing. I don't enjoy social media. I'm very grateful in that one of my actors is amazing at social media and is very interested in marketing. And so she basically took that over for me. But even with that, I think that neither of us appreciated until we were in it, like the scope of how much work we had to do in terms of sending out invites and, just like getting our things posted up on sites and inviting the reviewers and like all these things that needed to happen. And so I ended up still sharing a lot of that workload with her, which is totally fine because like it's too much for one person, in my opinion, depending on what you're doing. So I'm so grateful that I had her, because otherwise I would think I would have been completely lost. But I definitely, that was the bit that I found just to be a drudge, because a lot of it was just copying and pasting emails and, keeping spreadsheets of people that I'd already emailed, and then having like first date of contact, second date of contact, and then I sent so many DMs on Instagram that Instagram thought that I was a bot and kicked me off.
I actually found marketing quite easy. I do use social media quite a bit, and I do like...
I don't get it.
I don't know, I was doing surprisingly well, and I was like quite satisfied watching it grow quite like steadily. I wasn't like DMing, inviting and stuff like that till like the very end. And I didn't do it that much. I only did it a bit. And it somehow worked out. There's always a difficult part in certain, like you always run into some issues. Like casting, we had some issues. We couldn't find a good fit for this guy. Composing, we had some issue. We couldn't like agree on the motif for a character. Like there's all this stuff. There's all this logistical side. But I feel like consistently, what's most annoying is like, for me, because I'm so ADHD, it's like saying self-motivated and be like, I have to do this right now, but I can also not do it tomorrow morning, kind of thing. So it's horrible when doing the Arts Council funding, for first things first, I don't want to throw shade to anyone who works there, and they work very hard. Megan is like, God bless them. They all work very hard. They have so much things to read and so much shit to get through. And the workers are probably very hardworking, and they do all these stuff, and they have an 8-week window to do things, and they probably have like hundreds of things to read through. I don't know how big is the team, but I do think the Grantium system, which is the thing they use for your Arts Council funding, the word count there is absolutely broken. It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes it's like the word limit is 800 words, and then I type something that's only at 500 and says it's over the limit, and I go and that's when I start using AI and be like, can you reduce this, keep the same energy but reduce it to like 300 words, and it's still, and at 300 words I copy and paste, it's like still over the limit. I was like, how? I was having a brain aneurysm doing it. I'm sorry for anyone who have to done that. It was, and the questions are always so different and so finicky as well. It's so, I wouldn't say niche, but then you don't want to write so much fluff. You want to get straight to the point. You want to get like to the point, concise. Don't want to write any like extra flowery language. But then sometimes they reject you for being too boring and stuff like that. Not too boring, like too uninteresting, too plain. They couldn't get the artistic vision from your words.
Well, they can reject you for like any possible reason.
Sometimes it's just like they were they give you like the most like interviewer rejection, or just like we don't think your reason for that is strong enough. Your reason for creating art is strong enough. We have other better candidates this season. Just like, okay, what do I do? What do I fix? And it's so weird. You don't.
It's just inherently like, problematic to be comparing. It's like comparing apples and oranges, right? You're comparing all these different artistic projects that are so different, and so it's. And
there's just so much things that are very unclear when you're writing it and what they want, and even after you wrote it, and there's the balanced budgeting. You have to like make sure everything is perfectly balanced in it, or else it won't go through. It'll come back with a lot of errors. Like once you finish writing it, you always go back because there's like so much error. It takes so long to like fix everything, and by the time you finish fixing it, I feel like I'm not getting across what I want to get across. I feel like I lost a lot of the nuance while editing it, and I'm not sure if this is good or not. But you're so like mentally exhausted, you're like, just send it. I don't care. I always get to the point where you're like, I'm just gonna send it.
Are there any other like
funding sources?
Yes.
There's quite a few. There's one called Burgery, which specifically fund Asian art projects, but the caveat seems to be they are usually South Asian. And there's some like Stage 1. There's one called Stage 1 that funds producers and try to cover your living costs. It's not for your funding your project. It's for funding your living costs while you work on your project.
That's really cool.
Wow.
I don't know how. I've seen it once. I don't know how frequent is it, and I don't know how much they give and how many people they give. But it's specifically for people who are producing, and they'll give you like an office in their building as well that you could use. I wouldn't say an office, more like a space you can use in their big building. If you probably let's say like 1,000 people apply, but probably only a few get it. Okay. That's what I think.
Cool.
Still cool.
It's still cool that. Yeah, it's called Stage 1.
Did you all do crowdfunding?
We did.
I did, yeah. So that was pretty much that, and also like I invested some of my own money into the project. I want to be upfront, transparent about that. I work full time as well, and so for me a lot of it was also trying to just figure out where the personal and professional kind of boundaries were for me. As we talked about, when things are a passion project, I think you're a lot more likely to
put in your own time, effort, and money.
Absolutely, yeah. And so but we ended up doing Click Fundraising, which is the University of Essex's platform. We kind of found it's kind of a loophole. Basically, we had one actor involved in the production who was still a current student at East 15. And so because of that, we were able to use the Click Fundraising platform, even though most of us had graduated, and also get the little bit of match funding that they give, which was absolutely amazing. But actually what I said was that I just earmarked the amount of match funding that we got. I earmarked that to be the fee for my actor who let us use her Click Fundraising account. That was kind of the trade-off. Because, anyways, that's as much detail as I need to go in. But yeah, so we relied pretty much entirely on crowdfunding, and then we also did. I basically from the beginning had no idea, because I had no experience with it, like what to expect in terms of ticket sales, but I absolutely knew that we, were not going to be able to cover like the cost of production by ticket sales. For anyone out there who thinks that,
No, never. It's
impossible. It's impossible.
Humans are very expensive.
Yeah, but like the
I made it
little.
sound like a slave trade there.
It's true, no, but like the little like secret goal in my brain was that like I know we can't cover everything, but like maybe we can break even with the venue. Like I wasn't even expecting for us to make a profit. I was just thinking like that would be really cool if we could just have all of our ticket sales go towards covering the venue. And as we got through the run, I didn't think that was happening, but it was kind of hard because I couldn't see all of the income as we went along. But I got the news last week that we broke even. We were literally like within 10 pounds, which was incredible. Yeah. And so that was a huge like release off my shoulders, because I truly did not think that we had met that goal.
Also, with the venue you had, it's not profit share,
So it is profit share, but they have a minimum guarantee. So basically, so we made enough to cover the minimum guarantee. So we didn't make any profit from the venue technically, but I know it's crazy. Yeah. But we still like. I was never expecting that we would make a profit from ticket sales. And so, yeah, you never do. And so just knowing that we at least were able to like cover that was really surprising and really cool.
I got so surprised when you guys said that you almost don't break even, or you don't expect anything from ticketing.
It depends on the scale of your show, I guess. For my show, I never expected to break even.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think a big musical will only break even on the West End.
I mean, to be fair, like I'm an actor, so like I'm on the other side of this. Like when I sign the contract, I don't expect to get paid. Like if my own money doesn't go into it, that's great. Like that's my expectation for doing a show with my friends on the Fringe. Like
100%. Yeah.
Besties.
Yeah, and actually it was interesting because I was.
Wow. This is really bad. Like if you work and you don't expect to get paid.
You see how excited she was when she just broke even?
yes, that's what I got surprised.
The only industry when you break even and you're excited.
What I would say is that the best piece of advice that someone ever gave me about a career in the arts, and I've told you this recently, basically just don't expect your art to support you ever. And so I just have always as long as I've decided to pursue this professionally, I've been very much at peace with the dichotomy of my profession. My profession is not the thing that's financially supporting me, and that's just like a truth that I've accepted. And if someday it does, like cool, amazing, but that's actually not like. At least at this point in my life, and maybe I'm very privileged and young to be able to say this, but like at this point, that's not like my top goal of my work, is that it would be like, that it would give me a financial profit. Like I am also a person that really enjoys doing multiple things. And so I don't mind if I'm like, working my coffee shop job and also dog sitting and also tutoring and also, teaching all these things. Yeah. And, doing sort of gig work, right. To pay the bills, but then knowing that I can still have my steady stream of like what I take the most seriously sort of underneath all of that. And that's something that I think just has been an important mindset thing for me, and has helped it all feel more sustainable, because at the end of the day, at least for me, like what I get out of it, and it's so cliche, but like my love for it, right? Like you can't really put a price tag on that. But the other thing, not really along these lines, but kind of along these lines too. Do you remember when we had that dinner, or not dinner? Well, was it dinner? No, that meeting with Thomas Ostermeyer. Do you remember? We had that, and one of the things that he said was like, you're very privileged to be able to do a job that's so fun. And so if that's going to be your career, then you need to make it like your fun and your safe space, and like use the rest of your time for like hard work in the world, basically. And that always stuck with me because I think that for a lot of people, they see their sort of like 9 to 5 as like the dreariness that they have to do in order to get home and like have their free time. Whereas my life almost feels like the opposite. It's like I feel like what I consider to be my job, right, is like my happy place, my fun place. That's where I want to spend all my time, is in the rehearsal room. And so then when I'm out of it, I have to accept that like that was where I was putting my happy, fun time energy. And so I'm going to have to do work outside of it. And that's, you know, like the trade-off.
I don't know. I still have this stupid positivity.
Oh, you need that stupid positivity.
Yeah.
You need that stupid positivity. You will do it because you want to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Though I think there will be odd jobs that you can, even in your artistic careers eventually, there will come weird odd jobs that pay quite a bit, or like, but the thing with those jobs is they don't last very long. But you still need like a survival job. I wouldn't say a 9 to 5, a full-time 9 to 5, but definitely like, let's say 2 part-time stuffs, usually.
Yep.
Like maybe
It feels like it's about like finding the gig job that like doesn't make you want to kill yourself.
Exactly. That's so important.
So
Actually, truly.
but then when you do your own show, you're going into it because I want to do this, I love this, I want to put this into the world, I want to do more with it, but I'm expecting it not to make me any money, usually. Yeah. To break even, it's just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we also have a current show, a link on the screen, a QR code on the screen, Cage Sisters, where
Tell us more about that.
I'm not directing this time. I'm just producing. So it was a mixture of logistics and what the director artistically wants.
I know you didn't explicitly ask this, but I never really set out to be a producer. Like I produce out of necessity for my directing.
Yeah.
Like I would never want to do what you're doing where you're just being a producer. Like I would never want to do that. Truly. Like I'm in awe of that because that's actually not
Might as well.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, but that just doesn't really, like, the puzzle solving of it, that does bring me some joy. Like, I think I was talking to one of my friends right in the midst of Scenes with Girls, and I was like, this is what self-producing feels like to me. It feels like I'm building a house, but also the house is on fire, and I'm trying to put out the fires, but then other fires start popping up, but then I'm still building the house, and I don't quite know what it's gonna look like. And that's what self-producing felt like for me. But it's fun. Like it's like there. I think if you can thrive on that energy of like, just know that problems, headaches are going to come up, and you're going to figure out ways to either deal with them or solve them. And there's no such thing as perfect. There's no such thing as an ideal world. You just have to kind of embrace those things and sort of ride the waves as they come. I think that was something that just having that expectation from the outset of like, things are going to go wrong. And that's okay. We're going to figure it out was probably the most helpful sort of just like lesson to be learning throughout it all.
I think it's easier to be less emotionally attached when you're not self-producing. So you're just producing. I feel less emotionally attached to it. Less like it's my baby kind of vibe. So I'll be like putting up a house that's on fire. I'm just like, you know what? I'm only gonna have fire type Pokemon live in this house.
Love that. Yeah. Just have to be like, oh, yeah, actually the fire's kind of pretty.
It's on fire, but I don't feel anything.
You guys are all invited.
Reviewers.
Reviewers.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, how are you gonna find a reviewer?
I got a spreadsheet from Megan Brewer.
I got a spreadsheet from the Space Theater.
I'll share it with you.
I'll share mine with you too. I actually have 2 or 3. I actually have 2 or 3 spreadsheets now, probably more, and I don't know if any of the overlap. I have to like make sure now.
So I started there, and then I also did some of my own Instagram digging, and there were some reviewers that I found like a week before the show, and I was just like, I mean, might as well. They may not come because it's quite late to be sending an invite, but you never know, and then at least you're on their radar for the next one. So I just started keeping track, organization.
Some do show up, some don't.
Oh, most don't.
And most don't. You email 100, you get 10.
Yeah, definitely.
about that. I think that was about the rate. The thing is, my show last year was around August, and around August is when Edinburgh Fringe is going on. A lot of them were in Edinburgh and stuff like that. It's like okay, that makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing, my show was also live streamed, so some people reviewed it online, which is also interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, at least they watch it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's because I always worry about I'm not going to be able to pay my co-workers. I mean, if like, by the sounds of it, like the worst case scenario would be like I invested a lot of money and then I still get a show, right?
Yeah.
It is that the outcome. of
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with the money thing, like there are people out there who will work for free. Like they do exist because first of all, because I mean, you know, I mean, like because people measure value
I
differently.
feel bad about this. 'Cause, yeah.
But that's also where it's like you can't make other people's choices for them. That's why when I was as I said earlier, like I was just like I'm gonna be fully transparent about all of this because I can't make anybody's choices for them, but I can make sure that they have as much information as humanly possible.
Same here. Transparency from the front. Like this is how much you're getting, and this is how much you're not getting, and this is what we're doing. This is how much I'm not getting, and this is how much I'm investing, and stuff like that. Full transparency is always like the first thing.
But also, like you don't know until you ask.
I have asked some people, as a designer, like the pay is this is around the budget we have, and this is probably the pay you'll be getting, and they were like, sorry, I can't work for that right now, and they just said no. And you're like,
Yeah, it's not personal.
nothing personal, and they were still like very interested in the project. They just couldn't do it like logistically or financially and stuff like that, or like some people just couldn't do it in that time frame.
So there's so much for tonight's conversation. Yeah. Just to follow these lovely people's Instagram, and we will post more info of their future projects.
Yes,
So
please.
stay tuned.
We should have all the links, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.